Recipe for instant pot salmon. Using fresh or frozen fillets, cooking salmon in the instant pot takes only a few minutes. I like using this hands-free technique to cook it as a quick weekday meal. In less than 20 minutes, it will be ready. Benefits of salmon. Omega-3 fatty acids, which are abundant in salmon, may help lower your chance of dying from a heart attack, according to the Mayo Clinic. Omega-3 fatty acids must come from your food since your body cannot produce them on its own. Two of these fatty acids, EPA and DHA, are found in abundance in fish, while another kind, ALA, is found in plant-based sources including walnuts and flax seeds. Salmon is a fantastic source of both B vitamins and protein. Each serving of just 4 ounces has 22 to 23 grams of protein. Salmon's vitamins may also help to maintain healthy brain function and lower inflammation. What salmon type is best? Make careful to check for wild-caught Alaskan salmon when purchasing seafood. Because farmed salmon is fed high-fat feed to grow larger fish, it often has a greater fat and calorie content than wild salmon. As a result, farmed salmon can often be exposed to more toxins than wild salmon. Can frozen salmon be cooked? Yes. All you need to do is extend the cooking cycle by 2 minutes. It eliminates the effort of thawing the fish beforehand, and you can frequently save money by buying it frozen, which is another reason why I adore the Instant Pot. Can I cook vegetables in the Instant Pot at the same time? Yes, in a way. If you cook vegetables under high pressure for 3 minutes, they become mush. Absolute mush. Therefore, I advise only cooking the fish for 1 minute, quickly releasing the pressure, removing the lid, and adding your vegetables on top after that. When the timer beeps once more, quickly turn the pressure release valve to venting to quickly release the pressure. Resecure the lid, then use the manual setting to cook on high pressure for 0 minutes. Yes, you read that right. In that manner, everything should be prepared to perfection. I've discovered that I can't get much flavor to stick to the salmon when I cook it in the Instant Pot. Here's an affiliate link to the 6-quart model I use, so I prefer to make a separate sauce in my blender while it cooks. Serve my honey Dijon dressing on top for a similar flavor if you enjoy the maple Dijon salmon from my first book, Everyday Detox. Ingredients: 1 water cup. Wild Alaskan fish weighing 1 pound, divided into 4 fillets. Pepper and salt. Instructions: place the metal trivet on top of the cup of water that has been added to the Instant Pot. On the trivet, arrange the salmon fillets in a single layer and generously season them with salt and pepper. Turn the pressure release valve to seal and fasten the lid. Cook for 3 minutes at high pressure using the manual setting. If using frozen fish fillets, cook them for 5 minutes under high pressure. No need to thaw. Turn the pressure release valve to venting as soon as the cooking cycle is over to immediately relieve the pressure. Warm the fish before serving it with your preferred sauce and side dish. For instructions on preparing veggies with the fish, see my article from above. Notes for recipe. I can't guarantee that this technique will work with other sorts of fish because I haven't tried it with them. The seasoning options are completely flexible and up to you. You may use your favorite salad dressing to amp up the taste or keep it simple with salt and pepper. Other alternatives include adding a slice of lemon and dill on the top. Please comment below if you try something new so that we can all learn from your experience. Recipe for baked salmon. My personal method for preparing fresh salmon from the supermarket is this baked salmon since it's quick, simple, and tasty. Serve it as the dinner's main course, add it to a salad of mixed greens, or shred it for a salmon salad that is suitable for picnics. Making it only takes 15 minutes. When I say that I cook this dish at least once a week, I'm not kidding. Salmon is a staple of my dinner preparation, and my family adores it. If I'm being really honest, pan-seared salmon with crispy skin, just like at the restaurant, when the skin is like a crunchy potato chip on top of the fish, is by far my favorite way to eat salmon. but that requires a more time-consuming procedure that calls for descaling the fish and refining the sear, and it's only intended for immediate consumption. You may eat the fish as is, with seasonings like dill, Dijon mustard, or lemon, or in different dishes entirely. This baked salmon recipe is ridiculously easy to make. Personally, I adore rubbing it with a tiny bit of homemade Cajun seasoning that has been lightly wet with olive oil to prevent the spices from burning. Additionally, leftovers keep well. I frequently prepare salmon, so I've tried a variety of heats and cooking periods. In my experience, baking salmon in the oven results in juicy slices that softly flake when cooked at higher temperatures for a shorter period of time. This piece's wetness is shimmering, as you can see. To get rid of the bones, feel along the flesh to find where they protrude, then share them with tweezers. Next, add salt and freshly ground black pepper to the fish. If I have some, I'll occasionally add freshly chopped dill. Other tasty toppings include teriyaki sauce, Cajun seasoning, Dijon mustard combined with pure maple syrup, and smoky paprika. I'll just season the fish with salt and pepper if I'm using it in salads or other recipes. The fillet should then be placed on a foil or parchment-lined pan before baking. It seems to me that no matter how much oil you use to lubricate the pan's bottom, the skin always adheres and is difficult to remove. So I line the pan to make cleanup simple. Because there is less fat in wild salmon, it is more likely to dry up, so you should keep a closer eye on the fish. Advice for the best results. The sort of fish you use is important since the eating experience varies greatly among salmon varieties. As a general rule, farmed salmon tend to be fatter, and hence wetter, than wild salmon, but even wild salmons vary greatly from species to species. Below, I go into further depth about this and provide some suggestions. Try to get a center-cut piece, if possible. Request that the fishmonger cut you a portion with a center cut and an even thickness. By doing this, the fish will cook more evenly, with fewer overdone or undercooked areas. Aim for medium rare. Salmon may safely be consumed at 125 degrees Fahrenheit and is completely cooked by 140 degrees. You get a more tasty and moist inside as a result. Wild versus farmed. As a general rule, wild salmon has less fat than farmed salmon, making it more likely to become dry and overdone. I've tried 8 different varieties of wild and farmed salmon, and I like king salmon, which is also the most costly. Whole Foods farmed Atlantic salmon, which has excellent taste and moisture, is my preferred affordable alternative. Avoid overcooking sockeye and coho species since they have a tendency to be drier. Chum salmon should be avoided since it lacks the taste of other kinds. Take out the bones. The pin bones should always be removed from your fillet since they are particularly large, thick, and dangerous for choking. When you have to do it yourself, using tweezers is the easiest because the fishmonger may have already removed the bones from the fish in certain cases. You cannot remove the bones with your fingertips, I assure you. I purchased these tweezers since I use this recipe so frequently. Affiliate. In a pinch, I've also been able to remove the bones using tongs, although it's more laborious and difficult to grasp. The time needed to bake salmon. Typically, 12 to 14 minutes in a 425 degrees Fahrenheit oven is ideal for a slice that is 1 foot thick. Keep in mind that cooking salmon to a maximum temperature of 140 degrees Fahrenheit results in completely cooked fish, whereas chicken is 165 F. So that there is still some pink within, I often aim for 125, 130 F. How to determine doneness. I get the same size piece from the shop, so I've figured out the timing, but if you peek inside the oven, you can see when the fish has transitioned from a darker, glossier exterior to a lighter, more opaque exterior after being cooked. A thermometer may be used to confirm that it is finished quickly after the glossy shell has disappeared. Serving instructions. When the salmon is at its moistest and juiciest, right after it comes out of the oven, serve it. Greek zucchini salad, carrot raisin salad, roasted parsnips, and cilantro lime cauliflower rice are a few light side dishes you may offer with it. I advise romesco, cilantro jalapeno sauce, or basil pesto if you want to add a sauce. Salmon that has been baked may also serve as the primary protein in salads like kale or Cobb salad. FAQs and tips for cooking. How should leftover baked salmon be stored? For up to 5 days, store in the refrigerator in an airtight container. Can leftover baked salmon be frozen? A container that is airtight can be kept for up to 3 months. Place in the refrigerator for the night to defrost. How should baked salmon be reheated? The oven or microwave is your best alternative. To thoroughly reheat the fish in the microwave, cook it for 30 seconds at 50% power in intervals, being extremely cautious not to overcook it. Try heating up at 300 F for 10 minutes in the microwave. Ingredients: 1 pound of salmon fillet, salt, freshly ground pepper. Instructions: set the oven to 425 F for heating. Aluminum foil or parchment paper should be used to line a baking sheet. Use tweezers to remove the pin bones from the salmon fillet if the fishmonger hasn't already done so. For a 1 pound piece of fish, liberally season the top with salt, about 1/2 teaspoon. Since I throw away the skin, I don't season the bottom of the fish. About 1/4 teaspoon, or as desired, of freshly ground black pepper should be added to the fillet. Depending on the desired level of doneness, bake the fish for 12 to 14 minutes, or until the top is no longer glossy and the internal temperature reaches between 125 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Salmon is cooked to perfection at 140 degrees Fahrenheit, or at 125 degrees Fahrenheit for medium. Dispense and savor. Notes: feel free to use a larger piece, the cooking time should be around the same, so long as the thickness is consistent. Salmon species: the flavor and texture of many salmon varieties vary greatly. King will be the wettest for wild creatures, but it is pricey. Because it is inexpensive, flavorful, and juicy, I like the farmed Atlantic salmon from Whole Foods. Take great care not to overcook sockeye and coho since they dry out very rapidly. Avoid the chum since its flavor is inferior to that of other species. Keep leftovers in the refrigerator for up to 5 days in an airtight container. Freezing: keep for up to 3 months in an airtight container. Place in the refrigerator for the night to defrost. Reheating: the microwave or the oven is your best bet. To thoroughly reheat the fish in the microwave, cook it for 30 seconds at 50% power in intervals, being extremely cautious not to overcook it. Try heating up at 300 F for 10 minutes in the microwave. Variations and uses: you may use leftovers to make a salmon salad or add them to salads, like a tuna salad, but with salmon. You are welcome to add basic flavors like teriyaki sauce, maple syrup, fresh dill, Dijon mustard, and more. My preferred method of preparing it is to massage it with a tablespoon or 2 of Cajun seasoning that has been soaked with a tablespoon of olive oil to prevent burning. Salmon with crispy skin recipe. Salmon that is quick to cook and excellent, taking only 10 minutes total, is the ideal side dish. This pan-seared salmon is easy to prepare and will give you the impression that you are eating at a 5-star establishment. Salmon with crunchy skin. My go-to protein for a quick, delicious supper is usually salmon. It's always savory, juicy, and delightful. It always tastes great, even if it is only lightly salted and peppered. Of course, the quality of the fish itself has a significant impact on how salmon tastes. Select the greatest ingredients for the best outcomes, since this is true of every item you will ever use in cooking. Making this 5-star fish requires little work beyond choosing a gorgeous salmon fillet. When preparing this dish, there are only a few simple procedures and suggestions to keep in mind. Which pan should you use? I've cooked salmon using this technique several times, in a variety of pans. I've learned to like my stainless steel pan after a number of failures and less than ideal results. I utilized cast iron, nonstick, stainless steel, and pans with mineral coating. The stainless steel pan always seems to produce the greatest results. It's crucial to keep the pan spotless to prevent fish from sticking to anything. Additionally, be sure to heat the pan up first. Every time you cook, you should start by preheating the pan, but whether cooking fish or using stainless steel, this is especially true. Don't increase the heat past medium. How to prepare salmon with crispy skin. Salmon with crispy skin can be prepared in one of two ways: pan-seared or under the broiler in the oven. The pan-seared method gave me the greatest results, so I'll be sharing that approach. Making sure the skin is dry before putting it in the pan, making sure the pan is preheated, making sure the heat is not too high, and making sure to serve the salmon skin side up with nothing on top are a few suggestions to keep in mind when preparing this dish. Pan should be heated to medium or slightly below medium. Since every stove differs, especially when comparing gas and electricity, you are the best person to know your stove. Just keep the heat at a medium setting. The pan will need to be heated for around 5 to 7 minutes. Make sure the salmon is cold and fresh from the refrigerator before cooking. Salmon should be lightly rubbed with a little oil after being well dried with a paper towel. Wait to season the skin with salt and pepper until you are ready to put it in the pan. Salmon will get wet if salted before cooking because salt absorbs moisture. Salmon should be added skin down to the pan after adding a few tablespoons of canola oil and spreading it over. If the pan begins to smoke heavily after adding oil, it's too hot, lower the heat slightly. Salmon should be cooked with the skin side down until 90% done. Every so often, lightly raise the skin of the fish to see if it's burning. When the heat is off, turn the salmon. Take it out of the pan after another minute or minute and a half of cooking. The thickness of the salmon fillets will always affect the total cooking time. How to prepare salmon with crispy skin. Salmon with crispy skin, as opposed to salmon roasted in the oven, must always be served with the skin on and atop a salad, sauce, or side dish. Nothing should be placed on top of the crispy skin because else it will quickly get mushy. When I was initially learning how to prepare this salmon, one of the worst blunders I ever did was to cover the gorgeous, finally obtained crispy skin with sauce. So always arrange the salmon on top of the accompanying ingredients, and if you're serving it with sauce, pour the sauce into the dish first before adding the salmon. Ingredients. Average Atlantic salmon fillets weigh 2 pounds per pound, use other if preferred. Salt. Fresh black pepper, cracked. Instructions. Make sure the salmon is cold and fresh from the refrigerator before cooking. Pan should be heated to medium or slightly below medium. Since every stove differs, especially when comparing gas and electricity, you are the best person to know your stove. Just keep the heat at a medium setting. The pan will need to be heated for around 5 to 7 minutes. Salmon should be lightly rubbed with a little oil after being well dried with a paper towel. Wait to season the skin with salt and pepper until you are ready to put it in the pan. Salmon will get wet if salted before cooking because salt absorbs moisture. Salmon should be added skin down to the pan after adding a few tablespoons of canola oil and spreading it over. If the pan begins to smoke heavily after adding oil, it's too hot, lower the heat slightly. Salmon should be cooked with the skin side down until 90% done. Every so often, lightly raise the skin of the fish to see if it's burning. When the heat is off, turn the salmon. Take it out of the pan after another minute or minute and a half of cooking. The thickness of the salmon fillets will always affect the total cooking time. The middle of quality, juicy salmon should be approximately 125 degrees. Note, the post has further information and advice. Recipe for quick poached salmon. Fish cooks quickly in a microwave, the ultimate kitchen convenience. Ingredients. For salmon fillets, sliced in the middle. 1/4 teaspoon salt. Directions. The process couldn't be much simpler. Put the salmon fillets in a glass baking dish that is 8 by 8 inches and season with 1/4 teaspoon salt. Give the dish a quarter cup of water. When examined with a fork, the salmon should flake easily and just start to become opaque throughout after 8 minutes of cooking on high in the microwave. Remove the salmon from the baking dish using a slotted, broad metal spatula and let it drain on paper towels. Warm the salmon on a plate.